Well, Stuart, it is the eve before Thanksgiving, and I am trying to get my last few, kind of leftover bulbs into the ground. I still haven't planted this window box, and I saved some of my French rose blend from color blends to plant in here. So I'm just removing some of the dirt. And by the way, this is going to have a lot more layers to it. So first of all, let me show you how pretty my urns look and how happy these hellebore have adjusted to being in these urns. I don't even think that they've been bothered too much by squirrels. So they're pretty happy, and we're supposed to get a good rain tomorrow. So or not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, Stuart. So this is good because we need all the moisture we can get. I am also, after I make a mess with the window box, I'm gonna clean up with my handy dandy works blower that I love so much. I can clean up all of the leaves so that they're not tracked in, and more importantly, in Oklahoma, usually blown in whenever anybody opens the door. So I will do that. But here's my question of the day. I don't think there's any time of year that is more nostalgic to me and reminds me of my childhood more than leaf drop season, because it reminds me of playing with my brothers and sisters in Knoxville, Tennessee, when I was growing up, playing outside, and it was just so beautiful, kicking the leaves, the sound of the leaves, the smell of the leaves. And here's my question of the day. When it gets to the point that I finally have to clean them up and either compost them or kind of remove them in some way, are you like me, and does it sometimes break your heart to have to do that? I find that the ones that are especially beautiful, particularly the ones that fall off of my gorgeous Caddo maple tree, which by the way is indigenous, it's a sugar maple, but indigenous to Oklahoma. And even though it's been storm battered, it is still beautiful, and the golden foliage just makes me so happy. But I have a hard time when the leaves fall just discarding them because they're so beautiful. Now, I think I mentioned that this is what I do, but this, in practice, this is what we will be doing for the next couple of weeks. And look at how happy these pansies are, Stuart, because we got some rain, and with some fertilizer in the spring, these are really going to just be spectacular. They'll grow together and almost be solid. But there are also, because we were so mindful of it, we were very mindful of a lot of the seedlings and where they were coming up when we planted the pansies, so that I will have them next year. So I've got all sorts of Larkspur and Columbine. And when we blow those leaves, it will just gently cover them, and it will protect them through what might be a harsh winter. And it will also help to keep them moist. And then next year, when we uncover all of the leafy debris and expose them to the sunlight and air, they will be very happy having put down a pretty good strong root system, even from those tiny little seedlings. And before I do that, I might even come out here and scatter a few more seeds, a few more feverfew, a few more foxglove, those that I'm not seeing a lot of seedlings of. And even though I may have lost some of the things in the garden, I guess it's so crowded that I had the luxury to lose some things. I'm even going to be moving, I think, more boxwood balls and some things in the coming season. I see some yews that are kind of suffering, and I'll just kind of rethink that. But for right now, I'm just happy with the way things look, and I will have a little bit of color here from these pansies. I'll cut back a little bit some of the sedum autumn joy and some things like that, but mostly it's pretty much done. But Stuart, if you don't mind just actually stepping back a little bit and kind of pointing to the house, I think it looks lovely even for wintertime, don't you? And again, I don't mind all of the leaf litter that will be on top of the garden. I think that's just fine. it serves its purpose, and it's Mother Nature's way to mulch, is it not? Okay, so now let's come back up here, Stuart. Because even in the front yard, there will be a few things that I'll be able to cut for when I start doing winter arrangements. There's obviously some nandina. I've got some boxwoods, some holly. The Foster holly over here have lots of red berries on them, and this, though it doesn't have a lot of berries right now, this Nellie Stevens will make really good just evergreen foliage. So, and I'm also looking, because I can see some more hellebore here that if I want to share with anyone, I can see that I have plenty, so I can be generous. So let's come back up here, because I want to show you one more thing. And I'm a little bit self-satisfied here, because you guys may recall that I transplanted this boxwood that was misshapen and overgrown from the back, and I limbed it up, and I love the way it looks in this pot. I think it looks great, and I love the fact that you can kind of see through it. So after I get these bulbs in, and let me see if I can demonstrate a little bit how far my spacing will be. And by the way, if I didn't mention it last time, and I've got my trusty Cool Job gloves on. These are now my go-to gloves of choice. Not only because they do great and they keep my hands clean and warm when I'm outside, but because they wash beautifully. Much better than some other types that I've used. These are Think Green. These are some of the eco-friendly ones, but these would make a great stocking stuffer, because gardeners never have enough garden gloves. Okay, so I want to demonstrate this, Stuart, just so in case people want to know how I plant them. I'll plant them about, an inch apart. And by the way, I used to think, and I was told, that bulbs had to be planted pointy side up to bloom, but they really don't. They know which they're smarter than we are. They know which way is up. So this is about how deeply I'll plant them. And then there'll be more space left in the foreground and a little bit along the sides and in front of the boxwood, where I will invariably next spring want to plant some cabbages, maybe some golden feverfew, and definitely some more violas and pansies if I don't go ahead and do that this year. This Japanese maple still looks pretty, doesn't it? So back here, it's just last minute tidy. I'll be cleaning off the table. I don't think it's going to be nice enough tomorrow to sit outside, but I'll clean off the table. Hubs has been sitting outside in his Yeti chair. I will just kind of spruce this up, make it look nice. But it doesn't look so bad for being completely barren, does it, Stuart? That's the value of having these strategically placed boxwood. And then next week, after the mayhem of Thanksgiving is over, the dishes are done, I will put up my Christmas wreaths and things. I will take this poor mum that's still here, Stuart, that you're sad every time you look at it. I will plant that in the ground along with, and these are so unsightly now, but I did not want to put them up until I showed you how they will be dealt with. So these were those gorgeous baskets that we did, Stuart, the hanging baskets. I put a layer of burlap. You can see that they look pretty horrific now, but it also shows you just how freeform I could be when I planted them, because the plant material was so profuse, it just cascaded over and you couldn't even see it. So here's how I will dispense with them. There are some mums in here, And I will take the mums out and I will plant them in the back border of the potager. I will also take this sedum out. In other words, the perennials will come out, and I will, ooh, look at this, look at that pretty mum. I love that color of mum, so I want to make sure that I salvage this. And I'll plant the mums back in the back bed. I'll do that with both of them. Some of the celosia will dry and go to seed, and I'll scatter some of that seed, but the remainder of the annuals, the coleus that was in here, I can't remember what other annuals I had in here. I took cuttings of it, but I will just put all of that in the compost tumbler or in the composter along with most of the dirt. And then I will clean these up, tidy them up, and I will put them in storage in anticipation of probably some spring planting for next year. So always when I'm in one season, I'm thinking about the next season. And then look back here, Stuart. Look at all of the larkspur that's come up. This is going to be larkspur heaven next spring. And as I told you, a lot of the stuff I'm not going to cut back on some of the phlox and things. I'm not going to cut back the perennials this year because I want them to have that additional insulation from the foliage and the growth to protect the root zone. So that's kind of it. Not a lot going on back here, Stuart, but we're putting it to bed. And pretty soon, I guess we're just going to wait for a snowfall so you can come and take some more pictures when it looks absolutely gorgeous. Likewise, back here, I'll end on this note, it's also looking too crowded and overgrown, and so I'm eyeing some things that will be moved, transplanted, and in some fashion just relocated. So that is your Wednesday Walkabout, and from my very, very grateful home to yours, happy Thanksgiving.